Rescue Team. James was feeling extremely proud. The Fat Controller had asked him to be on rescue duty for the day. He was a little annoyed that he had to share the job with Toby. "I can do this on my own," James said to himself. Very soon James and Toby had to deal with their first emergency. Gordon had gone off the rails at Fenland Bridge and needed help. James and Toby rushed down to meet him. James took control and took no notice of Toby. He tried to pull Gordon back onto the rails. James pulled with all his strength, but he ended up taking Gordon even further off the track. Toby was getting worried. He wanted to go and get Rocky to help put Gordon back on the rails. James ignored him again and went behind Gordon to push him onto the tracks. His plan made things worse. The bridge Gordon was on snapped, sending Gordon down into a muddy marsh. James carried on ignoring Toby and tried to shunt Gordon. James ended up derailing himself and falling into the soggy marsh alongside Gordon. James and Gordon were both soaking wet and grumpy. Finally, James listened to Toby. "I'll go and ask Rocky to help," said Toby, rushing off. With Thomas's help, Toby brought Rocky to the bridge. Rocky quickly lifted both Gordon and James out of the mud. "Phew, thank goodness for Rocky," said Gordon. "Yes, it was a good idea of yours to fetch him, Toby," said James. "I'm sorry for not listening to you," he said. Toby and James carried on being rescue engines that day, and the Fat Controller was delighted with their teamwork. The island of Sodor is home to many engines of different sizes, shapes and colours, and they all have different jobs to do. Fact File. Name: Henry. Number: 3. Job: pulls trucks and coaches. Sayings: "I love the forest." Did you know a mainline tunnel is named after Henry? Adventures. Henry is often poorly and has to go to the work for repairs, such as when his tubes began leaking. Ouch! Silly Billy. One day, sooty spots and smoky smudges made Billy's orange paintwork all dirty. At the washdown, he saw Emily being hosed clean. Big soapy bubbles floated into the air. Billy didn't like waiting, so he chased the bubbles. He puffed about the yard, bursting them all. "Whoopee!" he wheezed. When he bumped into some buffers, thud, his wheels rocked. "Silly Billy," smiled Emily. "You should be more careful and not rush around." Billy was still bored. "I need an engine to get some fish," said the Fat Controller. Billy eagerly rushed to collect the fish wagon. Boxes of fish were stacked into Billy's wagon. He set off to deliver them all. "P.U. Fish smells so fishy," Billy gasped. Later, Billy returned to the station. "Thank you, Billy, but if you had waited, I wanted some fishermen collected," the Fat Controller chuckled. Billy hurried off to the washdown again. There was a bit of a queue. "I don't mind how long it takes this time. I'll wait here for my wash," he sniffed. "What a pong," added Gordon. The island of Sodor is home to many engines of different sizes, shapes and colours, and they all have different jobs to do. Fact file. Name: Gordon. Number: 4. Job: Pools Express and goods trains. Sayings: oh, the indignity. Did you know Proud Gordon is very strong, but he makes sure everyone knows it? Adventures: Gordon has pulled the Queen's Royal Train. He also pulled 5 coaches at once, the most anyone has pulled. Operation Rescue. Harold was flying high in the sky when he spotted something unusual. "I wonder what that is," he said to himself. Can you point to Harold? Yes, that's Harold. Harold went closer and saw it was a climber. "Help!" shouted the climber. "I've hurt my leg!" Harold flew into action. What has happened to the climber? The climber has hurt his leg and gotten stuck. The climber was attached to a safety harness and lifted up. Harold's pilot called for an ambulance. What was used to save the climber? That's right, a safety harness. Harold landed back at the airfield where the ambulance was waiting. The climber was very grateful. "All in a day's work," smiled Harold. Let's join the dots and find out what this shape is. Ah, it's an ambulance ready to take the climber to hospital. Here's Percy. Hello, Percy. Can you find all 5 differences between these 2 pictures of Percy in 30 seconds? Good luck. And here's all the differences. Did you spot them all? Well done. The Fat Controller's Bedtime Story. Once upon a time, in Sodor, the Fat Controller wanted to plan a special surprise, but he wasn't quite sure what to do. He explained to the station master that Boko's driver had worked on the railway for many years. "He's really reliable," said the Fat Controller, "and deserves a long service award, but I can't think of a nice present for him." The next day, when the Fat Controller arrived at the main station, all the engines were working, except Boko. He was still waiting in the shed. "My driver's late, sir," he told the Fat Controller. Just then Boko's driver arrived. "What time do you call this?" asked the Fat Controller. "Why, my usual time," he replied, looking at his watch. "It's exactly 7 o'clock. "Your watch is 2 hours slow," frowned the Fat Controller. The driver was shocked. He said, "Sorry," and hurried to get Boko. They had a lot of work to do and didn't finish until late that night. Boko wearily crawled into the shed. The next morning, Boko was the first engine to be woken. "It can't be time for work already," groaned the diesel. "Yes, it is," smiled its driver. "My watch says 7 o'clock. Boko could hardly keep his eyes open. and the trucks were sleepy and grumpy too. When the Fat Controller arrived, he heard the trucks moaning. "What's going on?" he asked. "It's only 5:30 in the morning." "Oh no," said Boko's driver. "My watch is too fast now," he cried. "I'm very sorry, it's my fault." Boko went back to the shed to snooze. Later on, the Fat Controller drove to a gift shop. At the end of the day, Boko and his driver saw the railway staff and engines waiting. "Am I late again?" Boko's driver asked. "No, you're right on time to collect your long service award," said the Fat Controller, grinning. The engines peaked and everyone cheered. The Fat Controller gave the driver a present. It was a brand new watch. "Thank you, sir. It's just what I need," he laughed. "It couldn't have come at a better time." The end. Night-night, little engineers. If you liked what you heard, please consider leaving a like as well as commenting and subscribing. See you all again soon. Bye bye.